Let me tell you something about attraction that most people overlook, especially when it's quiet, hidden, and trying its best not to be seen. When a man is secretly attracted to you, he may not confess it, he may not announce it, and sometimes he may not even admit it to himself, but his behavior will always speak on his behalf. A man can control his mouth, but he cannot fully control his patterns. And one of the clearest patterns you will ever witness is this: he always finds a reason to be around you. Now, I want you to understand this deeply, because this is not accidental energy. This is intentional gravity. You ever notice how some people just keep showing up wherever you are? You didn't invite them. You didn't call them. You didn't plan it, yet somehow they appear. You mention you like a certain cafe. Suddenly he's been there twice this week. You casually say you enjoy morning walks, and now he's out there too, acting like he's always loved fresh air. You post about a movie, and now he's watched it and wants to discuss it. See, what looks like coincidence on the surface is often desire underneath. Attraction has a way of rearranging a man's schedule without him realizing he's rearranging it. He will shift his routine, adjust his timing, and create opportunities just to be in your presence. And he'll tell himself it's random, but his actions will tell the truth. Because when a man is secretly drawn to you, proximity becomes his silent strategy. He doesn't always know how to express what he feels, so instead he places himself where he can feel it. He stands closer. He sits nearby. He lingers after conversations should have ended. He volunteers for things if it means you'll be there too. And watch this carefully, he won't do that for everyone. A man does not repeatedly position himself near someone unless there is something inside him pulling him like a magnet. People invest their presence where their interest lies. Time is a currency, and a man spends it most where his heart is quietly leaning. Now here's where it gets even deeper. He might not even realize he's doing it. That's how you know it's genuine. Planned attention looks stiff, but natural attraction looks effortless. He might tell himself he's just being friendly. He might say he just enjoys the environment. He might even convince himself you're just another person in the room. But his feet betray him. Out of all the places he could stand, he stands near you. Out of all the conversations he could join, he joins yours. Out of all the directions he could look, somehow his eyes return to you like that's where they rest best. That's not performance, that's instinct. See, attraction is not always loud. Sometimes it whispers through repetition. It shows up in the small decisions a man makes without realizing those decisions form a pattern. He doesn't announce he wants to see you. He simply makes sure he does. He doesn't say he missed you. He just appears again. He doesn't declare interest. He demonstrates availability. And those demonstrations, subtle as they may be, are louder than any speech he could ever give. Because words can be chosen, but patterns are revealed. And I want you to pay attention to the effort behind those appearances. A man who isn't interested will rarely inconvenience himself. He won't go out of his way. He won't adjust his comfort, and he won't invest extra energy. But a man who is secretly attracted will cross distances he once called too far, wake up earlier than he prefers, and stay longer than he planned, and show up even when he has reasons not to. He may complain about being busy, but somehow he's never too busy to appear where you are. That's because attraction reorganizes priorities. It doesn't ask permission, it simply moves things around until you fit into his day. You'll also notice he lingers. That's a powerful sign. When everyone else is ready to leave, he's still there. When conversations end, he stretches them just a little longer. He asks one more question, makes one more joke, finds one more topic, not because he needs information, but because he enjoys your presence. Time feels different to a man who is secretly drawn to you. Minutes don't feel like minutes. Moments feel shorter than they actually are. And when time feels short, people try to extend it. That's why he stays. That's why he delays his exit. That's why he keeps finding reasons not to walk away yet. Now some people misunderstand this and think attraction is always bold, always obvious, always dramatic. But secret attraction is subtle, careful, and patient. It doesn't rush. It studies. It waits for signals. It tests the atmosphere. And while it waits, it stays close. Not too close to expose itself, but not too far to lose connection. That middle distance right there, that's where hidden feelings live. Close enough to see you, far enough to stay safe. And let me tell you something else that's important. When a man keeps placing himself near you, it's not just about seeing you physically, it's about feeling you emotionally. Your presence affects his mood. If you're smiling, he relaxes. If you're quiet, he notices. If you're absent, he feels the difference in the room even if nobody else does. That's because attraction heightens awareness. He becomes tuned into your energy like a radio locked onto one station. And once a man is tuned in like that, he keeps returning to wherever the signal is strongest, which is you. You might even notice he starts creating reasons to interact. Small questions he could have answered himself. Little comments that didn't need to be said. Casual observations that open the door for conversation. These are invitations disguised as coincidences. He's not just talking, he's maintaining connection. Because every interaction, no matter how small, gives him another moment in your orbit. And when a man wants to stay in your orbit, he'll invent reasons to keep circling. What's fascinating is that he often believes he's being subtle. He thinks he's hiding it well. He assumes nobody can tell. But attraction has a glow to it, and that glow leaks through behavior. The consistency of his presence becomes noticeable. People may not immediately understand why he's always there, but they'll notice that he is. Consistency is never accidental. Random things don't repeat with precision. Only intention repeats like that. Only interest shows up again and again without being asked. And understand this clearly, ladies and gentlemen, distance reveals truth. If you step away for a while, watch what happens. A man who is secretly attracted doesn't just disappear. He finds a way to reappear. He checks in. He asks about you. He looks for you. Because when someone you're drawn to is missing, their absence feels louder than their presence ever did. Silence becomes noticeable. Space becomes heavy. And a man who feels that will move to close the gap, even if he pretends he's just passing by. So when you see a man repeatedly showing up where you are, when you notice his timing aligning with yours, when his presence seems to orbit your location like it's guided by something invisible, don't ignore that pattern. That is not random behavior. That is interest-finding expression without permission from his pride. Because pride might silence his words, but attraction will guide his steps. And the truth is simple and powerful. A man can hide his feelings. He can mask his intentions. He can guard his heart. But he cannot completely stop himself from moving toward what he's drawn to. Let me tell you something powerful about human nature. Something subtle yet undeniable. Something that reveals itself without permission and speaks even when lips remain silent. When a man is secretly attracted to you, one of the strongest signs, one of the clearest indicators, one of the most honest confessions he will ever make without realizing he's confessing is the way his attention locks onto you. I'm not talking about casual attention. I'm not talking about polite eye contact or ordinary conversation. I'm talking about focused, detailed, almost instinctive awareness. Because when a man is secretly drawn to you, his mind begins to study you in ways he doesn't consciously plan. He starts noticing things about you that other people overlook, and he doesn't even realize he's doing it. See, attention is never random. Attention is guided by interest. People notice what matters to them. If something has no value to you, your mind filters it out. You don't study it, you don't analyze it, you don't memorize it. But when someone fascinates you, your awareness sharpens automatically. It's like a lens zooming in. Suddenly the small details become clear. Suddenly the little things stand out. Suddenly things that nobody else catches become obvious to you. That's what happens when a man is secretly attracted. He begins observing you with a level of detail that reveals his feelings long before he ever says a word. He'll notice when you change your hairstyle, even if it's just slightly different. He'll see when you're tired, even though you're smiling. He'll recognize the difference between your real laugh and your polite laugh. He'll pick up on your moods, your tones, your pauses, your habits, your patterns. Now understand this. Men are not naturally detail-oriented about everyone. Most men move through the world focused on tasks, goals, responsibilities, and outcomes. They don't analyze every small thing about every person. But when attraction enters the picture, attention shifts. Suddenly he becomes observant. Suddenly he becomes aware. Suddenly he becomes someone who notices. You might not even realize how closely he's paying attention. You might think he's distracted. You might assume he's not listening. You might believe he's focused on something else, but then he'll surprise you. He'll bring up something you mentioned days ago. He'll remember a small preference you casually stated. He'll recall a detail you forgot you ever shared. And you'll wonder, how did he remember that? The answer is simple, because it mattered to him. And things only matter that much when the person connected to them matters. You see, when a man is secretly attracted, his curiosity about you increases. He wants to understand you, not in an obvious investigative way, but in a quiet, internal way. He starts piecing together who you are. He listens carefully when you speak. He watches how you react to situations. He observes what makes you happy, what makes you uncomfortable, what excites you, what relaxes you. He studies you like a favorite song he can't stop replaying, not because he's trying to analyze you logically, but because his interest keeps pulling his attention back. And here's something fascinating. He might not stare openly. In fact, sometimes he'll try not to look too long. But even when he looks away, he's still aware of you. He notices when you enter a room. He senses when you leave. He feels the shift in atmosphere when your presence changes. That's because attraction tunes his awareness towards you the way a compass needle points north. He doesn't have to force it. It happens automatically. His focus drifts back to you again and again, even when he tries to appear casual. You'll also see it in how he responds when you speak. A man secretly attracted doesn't just hear your words, he absorbs them. He reacts faster to your comments. He smiles more at your jokes. He listens longer to your stories. Even if the topic isn't particularly interesting, his interest in you makes it interesting to him. Because it's not just about what you're saying, it's about the fact that you're the one saying it. That distinction is important. Anyone can hear words, but only someone who cares pays attention to the person behind them. And let's talk about memory, because memory is one of attraction's favorite tools. When a man is secretly drawn to you, his memory for things about you becomes unusually sharp. He remembers your favorite color, your favorite food, your favorite music. He remembers dates you mentioned, experiences you shared, opinions you expressed, not because he's trying to impress you, but because his mind naturally stores information connected to you. The brain prioritizes what the heart values. So when he recalls something small about you weeks later, that's not coincidence, that's emotional priority showing itself. Now, some people think attention is easy to fake. They think someone can pretend to be attentive. But real attention has consistency. Anyone can act interested for 5 minutes. Anyone can nod and smile for a short conversation. But sustained attention, repeated attention, effortless attention, that cannot be faked for long. That kind of focus only exists when genuine interest is present. Because real attention requires energy, and people only invest energy where they feel something meaningful. You might also notice how quickly he picks up on changes in you. Maybe you're quieter than usual. Maybe your energy is lower. Maybe something is bothering you that you haven't said out loud. Most people won't notice. They'll carry on as usual. But a man secretly attracted will sense it almost immediately. He'll ask if you're okay. He'll look at you a little longer. He'll soften his tone. That sensitivity is not random kindness. It's emotional awareness fueled by attraction. When you matter to someone, your emotional state matters too. There's another layer to this that people rarely talk about. Attention reveals priority. We all have limited focus. We all have responsibilities, distractions, obligations, and thoughts competing for our awareness. So when someone consistently directs their attention toward you, that means you're winning the competition inside their mind. Out of everything he could be thinking about, noticing, or focusing on, his awareness keeps returning to you. That's not small. That's significant. Because attention is one of the most valuable currencies a person can offer, and when it's given freely and repeatedly, it tells you exactly where you stand. And sometimes his attention will show itself in silence. He may not always speak. He may not always initiate conversation, but you'll catch him looking when he thinks you don't see. You'll feel his awareness even when no words are exchanged. That silent attention can be louder than compliments, louder than flirting, louder than praise, because words can be chosen, but where someone's attention rests is instinctive. It reveals what pulls them, what intrigues them, what holds them, What makes this sign so powerful is that it's difficult to control. A man can choose his sentences carefully. He can monitor his tone. He can filter his expressions. But sustained, detailed attention is harder to manage. It leaks out. It shows up. It reveals itself in glances, in memory, in reactions, in timing. He might try to act neutral, but his awareness betrays him. His mind keeps highlighting you even when he tells himself not to. And here's something important to understand. Ladies and gentlemen, when someone is not attracted, their attention is scattered. They don't track your details. They don't memorize your preferences. They don't notice subtle changes. Their focus drifts easily. But when attraction exists, attention stabilizes. It settles, it returns. Again and again, like a spotlight that keeps finding the same place on stage no matter how many times it moves away. So when you see a man who remembers the small things you say, who notices the details others miss, who responds to your moods, who listens like your words matter, who observes you with quiet curiosity, understand what you're witnessing. You're not just seeing politeness. You're not just seeing friendliness. You're seeing attention guided by hidden feeling. Because when a man is secretly attracted to you, his eyes may be subtle, his words may be careful, and his confession may be unspoken, but his attention will always tell the truth. Let me tell you something that people don't always understand about attraction, especially when it's hidden, especially when it's unspoken, especially when a man is trying his best to keep it under control. One of the strongest signs a man is secretly attracted to you is that he reacts differently to you than he does to everyone else. I'm not talking about dramatic reactions. I'm not talking about obvious confessions. I'm talking about subtle shifts in his tone, his posture, his timing, his behavior, his energy. Because when a man feels something for you that he hasn't admitted yet, his body reveals it before his mouth ever will. You see, people have a natural baseline personality. Everybody does. A man has a way he talks, a way he laughs, a way he carries himself, a way he responds to people. That's his default setting. But when he's around someone he's secretly drawn to, that default setting starts to change. His voice might soften. His words might become more thoughtful. His reactions might become more careful. Not because he's pretending to be someone else, but because his awareness of you heightens his self-awareness. Suddenly he's conscious of how he sounds, how he looks, how he comes across. And a man only becomes that aware of himself when someone in front of him matters more than he wants to admit. Watch how he interacts with other people, and then watch how he interacts with you. With others, he may be relaxed, casual, maybe even careless. He jokes freely, speaks quickly, doesn't think twice about what he says. But with you, there's a pause. There's a slight delay before he answers. There's a hint of thoughtfulness before he speaks. That pause right there is powerful because it means he cares about the impression he leaves on you. When a man is not interested, he speaks without filters. When he is interested, he becomes selective. He chooses his words more carefully. He edits himself. He considers your reaction before his sentence is even finished. And then there's his posture. Now, a lot of people ignore body language, but body language is the most honest language there is. A man might try to act normal, but his body betrays him. When he's around you, he might stand a little straighter. He might adjust his shirt. He might fix his hair. He might shift his stance to face you more directly. That's not random movement. That's instinctive presentation. Attraction makes people want to show their best version, even if they don't realize they're doing it. His body starts saying, I want her to see me at my best, long before his mind admits why. You might even notice nervousness, and let me tell you something important about that. Nervousness is not a sign of weakness. Nervousness is a sign of emotional investment. A man does not get nervous around someone whose opinion means nothing to him. If he's relaxed around everyone else, but slightly tense around you, that's not discomfort. That's care. That's him wanting to get it right. That's him wanting you to like him. That's him hoping he doesn't say the wrong thing or do the wrong thing. Indifference is calm. Interest is alert. And when a man is secretly attracted, his alertness increases in your presence. Now, sometimes that nervous energy shows up as playfulness. He might tease you more than others. He might joke with you more. He might look for reasons to make you laugh. Humor is often a man's way of testing emotional connection. If he can make you smile, he feels closer to you. If he can make you laugh, he feels successful. And if he keeps trying to do it, that means your happiness matters to him. A man who isn't interested doesn't invest effort in entertaining you. He saves that energy for someone who sparks something inside him. Another thing you'll notice is how quickly he reacts to you compared to how he reacts to others. You say something and he responds immediately. You call his name and his attention snaps toward you. You enter a room and his awareness shifts. That quick responsiveness is not coincidence. That's priority. His mind is already tuned toward you. So when you speak or move or react, he picks it up faster than he would with anyone else. It's like your presence is on a special frequency his senses are already listening for. And watch how he handles disagreement with you. With others, he might argue strongly, debate confidently, stand firm without hesitation. But with you, he softens. He listens more. He considers your point. He might even back down quicker than usual. That doesn't mean he's weak. That means your approval matters. When a man is secretly attracted, he values harmony with you more than winning against you. Peace with you feels better than victory over you. And that shift in priorities reveals more than any compliment ever could. There's also something subtle that happens with his energy. Around people he doesn't care about, his energy stays steady, but around you it fluctuates. If you're engaged with him, he lights up. If you're distracted, he quiets down. If you're laughing, he becomes more animated. If you seem distant, he becomes more reserved. His emotional rhythm starts syncing with yours. That kind of synchronization doesn't happen randomly. It happens when someone's feelings are quietly tied to your reactions. You may even notice that he remembers things you said and brings them up later in conversation, especially things connected to your opinions or interests. That's because your thoughts carry weight with him. He wants to understand how you think. He wants to know what you like. He wants insight into what makes you happy. And when a man wants insight into your mind, it's because his heart is already curious about you. Another powerful sign is how he behaves when other men are around you. Now he might not show obvious jealousy. He might not say anything, but watch closely. His posture might stiffen. His attention might sharpen. He might suddenly become more present in the conversation. That shift is instinctive. Attraction awakens a man's awareness of competition. Even if he never admits it, he won't necessarily confront anyone, but his body language will quietly say, "I'm paying attention." Because when a man feels drawn to you, he naturally becomes more aware of who else might be drawn to you too. And let me tell you something that many people miss: consistency is the giveaway. Anyone can act different once. Anyone can behave unusually for a moment. But when a man consistently reacts differently to you compared to everyone else, that's not random. That's a pattern. And patterns always point to something real. Repetition is truth revealing itself over time. If his tone keeps changing around you, if his posture keeps adjusting around you, if his reactions keep sharpening around you, that consistency is speaking louder than words ever could. What's fascinating is that he might not even realize he's doing it. He might think he's acting normal. He might believe he's treating you the same as everyone else. But attraction works beneath awareness. It operates quietly, influencing behavior from the inside out. His instincts respond to you before his logic catches up. His body reacts before his mind labels the feeling. And because of that, his behavior becomes the most honest confession he gives. People often wait for verbal confirmation of interest, but behavior is confirmation long before speech. Words can be delayed, words can be hidden, words can be denied, but reactions are immediate. Reactions are instinctive. Reactions are real. And when a man's reactions to you are consistently softer, quicker, warmer, more attentive, more careful, more engaged than they are with anyone else, that tells you something powerful is happening beneath the surface. So when you observe a man and you see that shift, that subtle transformation in the way he speaks, stands, listens, responds, and carries himself whenever you're near, don't ignore it. That difference is not small. That difference is not meaningless. That difference is the silent language of hidden attraction. Because a man can control his words, he can hide his feelings, he can guard his pride, he can protect his heart, but he cannot completely stop himself from reacting differently to the woman who quietly has his attention, his curiosity, and a piece of his interest he hasn't yet found the courage to confess.